of tall. 1. Because 1 in 5 children currently have or will have a debilitating mental disorder. 6.9% of U.S. adolescents suffered at least one major depressive episode this year. 9.1% of adults, that makes 16% of our population, 18.2 million people. That's more than double the population of Norway and Lebanon combined, more than the number of redheads in the United States, and greater than the amount of people who enrolled in college this year. 2. Because when we closed down the majority of our psychiatric hospitals decades ago, we traded beds for street corners and prison cells, our most vulnerable locked up, being treated by prison guards who only know how to suppress. Last year, a bipolar prisoner ripped a suicide blanket off of his body to try and hang himself. The prison charged him for the blanket. What we imagine as plastic cups of Technicolor change is really jingling change, gray pavement, black eyes, cracked lips, metal bars, and black eyes. We hide our faces as if they are a sneeze on the subway or a bad grade we just can't stand to look at. 3. Because we need to look. 4. Because mental illnesses are the only diseases that people still make fun of. Mood swings, you're so bipolar. Sad, that's depressing. Like to keep tabs on your cheating boyfriend, can you say psychotic? Liking your t-shirts to be color-coded means you're OCD just about as much as having a cough means you have tuberculosis. We make light of the things that we find the most uncomfortable. A way to cope with the unavoidable fact that mental illness knows no gender or religion, race, or class. It only knows how to tear from the inside. 5. Because penis pumps are covered by insurance, but my older brother's antidepressants are not. 6. Because Robin Williams' suicide opened the floor for conversation about mental illness, but Amanda Bynes' manic episodes were hilarious. Because let's face it, guys, the only mentally ill person we really like is a dead one. 7. Because the average number of mass school shootings has risen from 6 to 16 in just a decade. That's 31 since Columbine. We have fire drills, tornado drills, and hit the goddamn deck drills. We are amongst the first generation to go to school each day, wondering if our parents' tear-stained faces will pop up on Channel 4, primetime news coverage, another school shooting prompting a reevaluation of mental health in America with Anderson Cooper, at least until the next batch of high schoolers are buried. Because as much as we reevaluate mental health, nothing is going to change until we do. My mom used to quiz me on what to do if a man tried to grab me off the street. Now she asks me if I can fit into the cupboards in my math classroom. We wonder why people keep shooting things when it's easier to buy a gun in this country than it is to access basic health care. Because owning an assault rifle is a constitutional right, but being able to take your child to the doctor is a privilege. 8. Because I'm currently learning about psychological disorders from the same teacher that told my parents that my older brother's depression was a behavioral issue. 9. Because suicide is the 3rd leading cause of death in people ages 15 to 24, but we still don't talk about mental health in school. It's been blacklisted by public education, sitting on the curb with contraception, evolution, and female genitalia. It turns out that our kids aren't dying from snorting bath salts or whatever obscure drug the local news has convinced all of our mothers we're doing. It turns out that our kids, our classmates, and our friends are dying to be dead. 12-year-olds with baby faces and 16-year-olds with big dreams die thinking that every breath they took was a waste. Nooses made out of notebook paper and blood that drips like red ink. The school system teaches us about the bottom of the ocean and the surface of Neptune, but not what's happening within our own heads. 10. Because my great-grandmother's sister died in a mental institution where they treated her bipolar disorder with electroshock therapy. That's like treating a broken leg by breaking an arm. And we see this as a thing of the past. We save it for American Horror Story and insane asylum theme haunted houses, but the fact remains that we still don't know what we're doing. We can grow human ears on the backs of mice and teach robots how to break dance, but we have yet to create an antidepressant that can pinpoint specific neurotransmitters. We have laws to ensure the rights of corporation, but no legislation to keep guns out of the hands of people who cannot control their thoughts, let alone actions. We have mapped over a quarter of the moon, but we still know virtually nothing about the human brain. 11. Because I'm afraid. I'm afraid for my family, and I'm afraid for my friends. I'm afraid that fake it till you make it will become the failing motto of a culture of untimely deaths. I'm afraid that nobody will ask and nobody will tell. I'm afraid that nobody will look. I'm afraid that before long we will all be torn from the inside.